evals.
It took me forever to find where I had the email for the link.
It's from the Baba movie. I love that movie.
See,
There you
they
go.
have, this dinner theater we go to, they have Quizzo night on Monday nights. We should do that one night. That would just be a blast. It's $5.
Where is it?
It's at the Candlelight Dinner Theater in Wilmington.
Really?
It is, oh my God, it's a
That
great,
sounds fun.
it's a lot, I really like that.
So we should go on Canvas,
Yeah,
I'm
Sure.
opening-
Sorry.
I'm actually happy I found it.
So, can I ask a question? I built a temporary one, but now my real course is up there. Can I delete the temporary one?
sure,
There's a way to delete it.
absolutely.
Oh, I forgot my paper. Two questions.
Oh, yes.
I forgot my paper. Three questions. One, can you use Canvas on your phone?
Yes.
Two, we are having lots of trouble with the evaluations in ExamSoft. Could we build evaluations as part of classes in Canvas?
There is the new eval system that's being rolled in as our evaluations for instructors. I'm sure we could look at implementing part of that for the clinical stuff, the way we're doing now on exams.
Because the real challenge is when students are in clinical, they can't get the ExamSoft on their phones, so they can't do the evals together there.
Oh,
And
okay.
now, some of the instructors, when you do a midterm and a final, they're now all separate documents.
Yeah.
So they have to try to open the
Okay.
midterm, so think about a way, like if we could build them in the clinical courses and have them somehow do it, I don't know.
Okay.
But the fact you could get it on your phone, you could sit,
great.
I could sit with Mary with my phone. And we were thinking, even if they could fill them out at a regular basis, like this week, kind of evaluate
Right.
each
Over
week and sort of total it or somehow. So,
Okay,
Or at least write comments weekly.
all right. We're going to,
Sorry, that has nothing to do with this.
No, you're fine. We're going to, a new evaluation tool for, course evals and
Okay.
instructor evals. And that's supposed to happen in fall when Canvas starts.
Okay.
Who's driving that?
Chris May is driving that.
Oh, I love him.
But who's driving it from a, what, is it gonna be the exact same format, or?
As of
Oh,
right
sheet.
now, I
I'm sorry,
believe we're using the same format.
I was thinking Chris Smith.
For,
Yeah.
to start, it was just evaluation of what tool can we use that talks to Canvas.
Right.
And I think we found that tool. So there hasn't been any adjusting of the actual instrument itself. It's basically where are we going to put the instrument.
Great, thank
So
you.
I think further down the road, that would be inside of our undergrad meetings and stuff so that we could address maybe some of that criteria. And then we could always build from there.
We definitely need, our evals need to be
Yeah.
done like
Yeah.
major.
Yeah,
So we can do that for sure.
thank you.
All right, so here we are, Canvas 3, right? My full intention is to stop this series at Canvas 3 today. I
Oh,
don't have,
man.
um,
We need help.
well, that's where I'm getting to. I don't necessarily have a whole lot that I feel like would be beneficial for a whole group setting. We could spend a day a week for your rest of your time of your employment here at Widener and look at the tools inside of this platform.
Yeah.
I think especially as we get past fall and maybe towards spring of 19, we can start to dive in more into these little nuances and tools that exist within this system.
Can I come back to that?
But yes, you absolutely can.
Thank you.
And I'll send you the Zoom invite. You don't even have to come back.
What? Okay.
There you go.
So, now we're standing Zoom.
I think that right off the bat here, identifying how to edit the front page, which we looked at, building modules, which we'll look at deeper today,
Right.
assignments, attendance, discussion boards, those things that are very prominent right now in our instruction. And then I think as we kind of, more tools come on board and the university finds more things that can be put into Canvas and we find more places where we can be more effective in our instruction, we can kind of branch out a little bit more. So no, that I'm not saying I'm stopping the series because there's no more for you to learn. I'm saying I'm stopping the series because I don't want to drown you in things to learn, right? So this coming semester, Let's concentrate on getting our courses online, building the content, using the grade book, and making sure our attendance is keeping track of the basic instruction things. And then I think as we get further down the road, we'll branch out a little bit further.
I can think of two things that are probably, everybody in the room probably uses, how to do an announcement to a course, to the faculty in
Absolutely.
the course, and then adding either students or faculty to sections, so that people
that's a good one.
can
Absolutely.
see
Well,
stuff.
and the bigger stuff like the grade book.
Right, and we can look at all that stuff.
Okay.
Certainly, I encourage you, as our time passes, if you feel like there are certain things that you would like to hear about individually, or you and 2 other colleagues or 3 other colleagues, or if you're a coordinator for a course and you want to get all of the other instructors together as the coordinator and we do a Canvas session that way, that's a great idea too. So all of those things are possible. I just don't necessarily want to keep on dumping all this stuff on the entire faculty. So that's why I'm kind of here at the basics. All right?
Yeah.
So we looked at, right, our dashboard. We've looked at how to make our profile, all that good stuff today. Today we're going to actually work inside of a course and work on developing that learning content that exists in a course, right? So at the beginning of the semester, we hand out the syllabus. We say, okay, of course, your grade is out of 100%. This part is worth 30%. This part's worth 20. This part's worth 10. Okay, that's our grade scheme. That's where we get our percentages. And within that, you have your assignments or whatever needs to be completed outside of that coursework. You have 6 discussion boards throughout the semester. You have 4 papers. You have 3 quizzes, and you have, I don't know, 2 other things that need to be submitted, right? So there's these sequence of activities that need to be done. Due dates, available dates, how many points are there worth, you know, all those nuances that go into individual assignments. So that's what I wanted to take a look at today, okay? Now, know that in order, I'm just going to go to a course. So I encourage you to just go to a course, whether that's a summer course, a spring one that's running now, a blank slate, a fall from last year that's going to run in fall of this year.
Okay.
This year's fall, I'm told, will be in May 1st. So in about 2 weeks. Okay, we should be able to get into that fall content. I think that's a great timetable because a lot of us are like, finals, jamming, what can we get in, how much
Right.
instruction we need, these students need help.
Okay.
We don't need fall courses right now. So let's wind it down a little bit, give ourselves 2 weeks to kind of digest the end of spring semester.
Yeah.
And then our fall will come in and we can start working on that stuff in May. And certainly as your summer progresses, you can start to be in there as well. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to go into my old freshman seminar course. If you are in a summer course, you'll notice that your template looks a little bit different than what our fall course or our spring courses look like. Is anybody in a summer course? How does it look different?
Oh, I don't have a calendar.
You don't have the calendar here on the right side?
No, it's recent announcement is, I don't, why is recent announcement above the?
Oh, recent announcement. I have recent announcement up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's by default. That's so when the student comes in, they see the announcement right away.
Okay.
But what's different on this homepage here?
The 3 of these things belong together. Sorry. I'm really tired. I haven't slept, so.
Your location is on there, goes down.
All of this is still
I
here.
filled that in.
Is the course?
Your information.
At the bottom?
When you hit edit here on fall and spring courses,
Yeah.
all of this information is its own text. In a summer course and your fall courses that will be in on May 1st, all of the information on that front page has been captured in a picture.
Oh, I deleted that picture.
Right,
Oh, my God.
so that's probably why you didn't notice it. So instead of going through and having to delete all this text I have in here, we grabbed a screenshot of what was there before, and now when you hit edit, you literally just have to select that box and delete. So it's no longer like, oh man, I gotta get rid of all this stuff. It's the how-to stuff is now contained in that one image. Go ahead, Dean.
I'm sorry, so this is something that you did that isn't part of the system, right? So you've got an Andrew things superimposed over canvas, right?
Correct.
Wow, that's cool.
Yes, this is the template.
Yes.
Yes, yes. And like we said, as we get further down the road, the idea is, we're not using the university template anymore, which this is what this is. We have developed our own nursing template,
I see.
right? With our policies and our guidelines, like we talked about on the bottom, our nursing policies so they can get to. And obviously the tools that we find that we use the most here in our program, those are the tools that are present on our left-hand side menu, right? Maybe we decide we don't need all these things, right? We don't have time for that. It's too much clutter. So we get together, same thing we do in a faculty meeting. We have conversations and we can modify that. We can make our own nursing template. And then that way, when you go in, all of our nursing classes look exactly the same. And I think that will kind of separate us a little bit. I feel like we should be separated.
Very
Special, right?
We're amazing.
We're special.
I really like that.
All right.
Well,
All right, so let me go back to,
Oh, what?
That was me, sorry. I'm so excited about doing this, I'm not nervous.
Super pumped.
Right? Okay, keep going, because I can pick up.
Andrew,
yes,
can you hear me? This is Kim.
yeah, Kim, I can hear you.
I can't see what you're doing.
Oh, I apologize, I don't think I hit share screen.
Oh, there we go.
there she is.
But I still can't see. Ha!
Yeah, I can say.
My bad,
Yeah. All for a click.
I apologize for that. All right, so I'm back in my freshman seminar course. We're going to look at, like I said today, how to build out the actual content of the course. Now, obviously, if you are in an online environment, this is probably going to be a lot more structured than those of us that are teaching face-to-face.
Yeah.
Right? When it comes to face-to-face, you literally just have to put the assignments in, and when you're ready to grade them, the student clicks on it, they upload, you grade it. Right? But if this is an online course, there's a lot more involved in the design of this environment and the layout of it. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm going to kind of jump back and forth as I'm talking today, but mainly most of us teach face-to-face. So for the most part, our construction is, okay, let's build out the assignments, and I'll show you how to put those assignments then into a module format, okay? So I want to start with a caveat that there are two ways to do this, okay?
The easy way and the hard way.
Yeah, it's really neither one of them is hard. It's whatever your preference is. The way I described it yesterday is that, you walk into your house, you can either walk in the front door or the back door. You're still walking into your house. This is the same exact thing. So we can either come into our assignments to actually build the assignments, or if you are gung-ho, I love modules, that's what I want to do, you can come into modules and actually build out the assignments.
In the module.
In the modules.
And they
Now,
show up in both places.
it shows up in both places.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now, the idea behind this is that if you build an assignments, you can literally then just drag and drop in modules. So you build it all out in assignments. You say, okay, here's module number 1. In module number 1, we're going to read article 1, take quiz 1, discussion board 1, response 1. And you literally drag it all over to module 1.
So it makes more sense
Yeah.
to do it in the time.
Or if you are here in modules, and I'm just gonna have to move my box here, you'll see we all have this default module 1 that was set up by our template, right? This is just a design. What would you normally do in a module? Okay, you have your content presentation, a PowerPoint, a Zoom video, whatever that might be, a group discussion, an assignment, a quiz, and then a wrap up, okay? So if I wanted to add something to module 1, in this case, I want to add another content presentation. Not only am I covering, I don't know, heart valves in module 1, but I'm also covering pulmonary artery disease or something. I don't know.
Well done, you sound
Really,
good.
really
Wow,
good.
he's really doing
Wait,
nursing.
I think I was ready to teach senior med surgery in your head though.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
What the
I'm literally
heck?
pulling those out of thin air.
you did
My
good.
sister would be proud. though,
That's
isn't
right, she would.
You
Yes.
said with my friend who had heart valve surgery yesterday.
Okay, so here, I want to add something, I'm literally just hitting the plus. Okay, now, everything that you have already made is listed here. So this is where you can drag and drop if these things are already made. In this case, if I wanted to add message board 2, I would literally just click message board 2 and it would add it to module 1. Or if I have something that's not made, I'm just clicking new assignment. And this is something that we would never be able to dream of doing in Campus Cruiser.
No.
I'm literally adding an assignment right here from the module page. I'm not going back into assignment editor, clicking new assignment, putting it in a category, giving it its points, all those things that need to be done in assignment editor because that's the only place it exists. That is not the case here. That exists inside of assignments, but I can put a new assignment and say, I'm just going to put example assignment 1. Notice that if this is a sub assignment, you can always indent like an outline format. So it gives you that option to indent or don't indent. Okay. And here I'm just adding add item. Okay, here is my example assignment number 1. But it's in the wrong place. It was supposed to be up with my presentations.
Yeah.
I'm just dragging and dropping and moving it up. Okay, now it's in the right place. Now the student knows that when I do my overview and then I do my content presentation, now I need to complete example assignment 1, not all the way down at the bottom of the list where it first created it.
Nice.
And then of course, if you are adding more details here, you're literally, I'm just clicking on example assignment 1, hitting edit, and that gives me every other option that goes along with assignments. Right? It gives me a blank window to put in some text. Make sure you read article da-da-da-da-da and submit your reflection so your peers can respond to you, whatever that might be. So it gives you a box to type all those things. And we looked at these different tools that come along with our HTML box, right? We can put in videos from YouTube. We can put in pictures. We can put in links. If you have an article that's a PDF, you can literally take that PDF and just drop it right there. So I'm not going to shared files.
You know about
It's not, oh, go find it. It's, I put the link right there for you.
It's like a happy little tree.
Wait, can you show that again? I'm
Sure.
sorry. I missed the.
Are you all, do you have the box? Example assignment 1? Okay, I'm just clicking over on the right-hand side under my files. And this would be a place where I have things that are already uploaded.
Oh, so you have to put the files in. I can't pull files.
No, you
from-
can. You can. You can take something, like I can just put a link in here.
Yeah.
Or I could just put an attachment in here. But this is something like a lot of us have that shared files that is already made inside of Cruiser.
Yeah.
And I can take your shared files and batch dump them in this class. So that when you're designing and you get to this step, you say, okay, this is the place we read this article. Okay, now it's time for this article. I put it there for you. And it drops it right there in that window. So when I click on example assignment 1 as a student, the first thing I see is the article that I have to read for example assignment 1. It's not, go find the article on pulmonary disease inside of our shared files.
Yes.
Well, how'd they come from there? How'd they get in there?
Well, that's,
And here
Yeah.
was just from my files.
like, I don't have a link.
Okay.
Right.
So you can
We have
either,
to put them in there.
right, you can either come here with your files and dump everything in, or if it's something new, you can just do upload new file right from here. So if it's not in this list yet, and you say, oh, I have an article on pulmonary disease, but I found a new one, and I want that new article to be in there, but it's not in my list yet, I just say upload new file. And that gives me the option to put it in that list, and then I can click it and drag it over to my content box. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There is no limit here. Like literally, I have 7 articles I want them to read, I'm putting them all here. Read them. Those are all links. Okay, obviously here they're all images.
Yeah.
But you can put as much as you want in there. I certainly wouldn't overwhelm them.
Right.
But I want you to compare this person's writing to this person's writing. Put both the articles there, right? And then put those those probing questions that they have to answer for compare and contrast underneath them. And it's all right there for them. I don't have to go find the attachment for the assignment of what the questions are. I don't have to go find the 2 articles and shared files. When I click on assignment 1, everything I need for assignment 1 is underneath assignment 1. So, oh, well, I couldn't find the article. You should have just moved your eyes a little bit lower because it was right there.
So how do we go and find stuff that's like perhaps, saved to our computer or in a
Actually upload the
Dropbox?
file.
You actually have to upload the file. So if it's saved to your computer, here you would do upload new file on the bottom of your list.
Okay, wait a minute. I have add a link. Oh, files. Never mind. Got it.
There you go.
Got it.
So you can upload the new file there, but I think the majority of us have this stack of files that already exist in our shared files. So I would encourage you
There it
to
is.
get those shared files inside of your file section for the class, and then as you're building, that list is already populated over here for you. So I get the module 1, I grab the 2 articles I need for module 1. I get to module 4, I grab the 2 resources I need for module 4, because they're already populated in this list for you.
Now, can the students click on files and see all the files too?
The students can click on files over here, yes, and see all of the shared files.
Okay.
You can have that stuff not published to them and not visible to them so that you can only see it if you don't want them to maybe go a little bit further. That's your choice. But yes, they can click on files, same way they click on shared files and see the whole batch.
Because I'm looking at my Campus Cruiser course, I've also had a bunch of bookmarks. So do we just do the link instead of, like we had a bookmark tab in Campus Cruiser?
I love that.
Do we, what do we do? Blah.
There,
You know what I mean?
yes, I do know what you mean. So here, you can put in individual links, but there is no bookmark section in Canvas. Okay, so maybe what I would encourage for you to do there, I don't have an answer for that at the
How
moment.
about you would make your own folder and put all your links in there, because
You
that's what we
could,
do
you
with
could do
like,
that.
sending them out to National Council of State Board of Nursing, here's the ANA standard, blah, blah, and so
Oh,
stuff
can you,
that goes through all courses.
Or you just
all-
have, a document that has all the links listed, and then they just click on that link to that document, and then they have all of the links. But you're correct, there is no
bookmark?
favorites kind of
That's a
bookmarks.
shame.
But there's a
Section.
links site. Well, it's next to files where, is that just for?
Right, this would be links that,
So could you put them in there?
no, this links to other places in Canvas.
Oh.
So if I'm saying, go look at your About Your Teacher, I can put the About Your Teacher link there, and when they click on it, it takes them to that portion in Canvas.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So the video, the little arrow next to
That
the
creates a real
video,
problem for us.
so you see where it says YouTube and then there's
That guy?
OneDrive.
Record,
So,
upload
Yeah,
media.
is that where we can, now, do we have the capability, say I wanted to record an intro,
Yes.
that's where I
Right
would
here.
do that? So
Yes.
I just click on it, talk
Yep,
about
and it
myself.
will ask to enable your camera, you talk about yourself, it puts the video right there.
That's-
So it's not opening a Zoom
That.
meeting, recording
Right.
yourself, getting it off the cloud, uploading it to YouTube, putting the link in. No, the video component is built right into the HTML pad.
Now, if I wanted to give a student feedback on an assignment, because right now Canvas Cruiser, we can do a feedback, there's a feedback button where I
Correct.
can I give them video recorded feedback so they don't have to take it all out?
I love the idea of that, but I don't know the answer to it.
Okay. Yeah, just
So
wondering,
we'll
'cause that
look
would
at
be
that.
really cool.
No
So
problem.
there's no way to get to the internet from once you're inside of this place, right?
Tell me what you mean.
Meaning that you could put a link, but you have to be able to get out to the internet in order to upload a link. Wait a minute, is there? I bet there is. Wait a minute. Here's one. It's here.
But you
Get here. It is here. Yeah. All you need to now do is go out, get it.
Go out, copy it, and then bring it back.
Yep,
drop it in.
.gov. Yep, like CBC.
I only followed him. but-
Okay,
Me too.
I have two.
go ahead, Dean.
Question one, with regard to Sue's question about videos, remember Paula had that problem because she used up too much space?
Yes.
Does this become an issue?
No, because Paul's were voice over PowerPoints that were 90 slides long.
Okay. And question two,
Sorry, Paula, that's
it
not.
may be
You're on.
completely irrelevant here, but it strikes me that this might be a better place to, we just came out of a meeting where we're talking about documents and handbooks and stuff. Would Canvas be a good place to put our various documents for the school? I wouldn't put the university catalogs there, but the handbooks, and set that up as a course. I don't know how feasible this is.
No, everything's, all of that's staying in Campus Cruiser offices.
Yeah, it's on our
Okay.
page.
Really?
Because we would have to then make sure every student is in there and when they move or they get dismissed or.
So how do they fluctuate between the nursing office page and Canvas as far as?
Well, it's just, we just have two systems. You have an information system,
Uh-huh.
which is Cruiser, and you have a learning management system, which is
Okay.
Canvas.
That just seems inefficient to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's above my head, Dean. I'm just telling you what they told me to tell you.
Well,
So that's
is
what I'm
it
doing.
worth, from your?
They're exploring other options besides Campus Cruiser as to how to house that information.
Okay.
But right now, we have so many things that are talking to Campus Cruiser, i.e. colleague,
Yep.
i.e. web advisor,
Oh, yeah.
i.e. evaluations, i.e. student
And they
planning.
actually register.
So
all
yes,
Canvas
all of this
so-
stuff is in Cruiser, so
Yeah.
we have to find something that allows us to do those things as well.
This is just the
Yeah.
learning.
So this is just
Okay.
a course.
Yeah.
That's all this is, it's a course.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, I wanted to bring your attention to the other options you get. I'm still in example assignment 1. I want to bring your attention to the other options you get when you're creating an assignment in this manner. Now, keep in mind, this is the same menu you would get, even though I'm in the modules place. If I'm in assignments and I go to create a new assignment, you're going to get this same view. We're still in the same house, we just went through a different door. Okay, so points, obviously, what's it worth? What category is it in? Right? In this case, my assignments are worth 30%, my discussion boards are worth 20%, my quizzes are worth 10%. So here are your different categories. If you remember from Canvas 2, we looked at how to set up those category weights. And I will go back there when I'm done with this and show you that again. As I see your faces. That's
I was like,
what-
damn.
Okay, so here are your different groups. Obviously, when you put it in a group, that then talks to your grade book, right? You have 5 assignments. Your assignments are worth 20%. Each one of those assignments is then going to be worth 4% because 20 divided by 5 is 4, right? So it's doing the math for you. You need to tell the grade book where it's supposed to go and what weight it gives it, okay? Obviously, points or percentages,
We figured this out.
yes, Rose and I looked at this because Howard was using points and percentages interchangeably, trying to stick to one.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have those, and then obviously, I think if you're maybe more of a clinical side, you could also do complete, incomplete for competency, kind of thing, so that might be a good idea there. Some of us have like just journal reflections or extra assignments, you didn't do so good in this, so I want you to submit on, a remediation topic or something like that. So obviously, it's still an assignment, but you don't want that assignment to be part of the grade. So it's still a category of an assignment, but I don't want it to be part of that 20% that's calculated. I'm just saying that this doesn't count towards the final grade. So that way, when the student goes in, they still see the assignment under assignments because that's the way you've been referring to it. It's just it won't go to the grade at the end, but they still have a place to submit it. They still see the content and what they need to do. It just isn't calculated into the final mark. I thought
What
that
if
was
we
a
had
good feature
reading
there.
assignments? So like I want to say, like I like to build in modules. So I'm going to say module week 1, you have to read chapter Ishkabibble book 3, 4, and 5. Again, not graded, but I
Right.
want them to go, I want it to be seen in the module. Am I just going to call it an assignment?
Yeah, I think for that here, instead of calling this example assignment 1, reading 1.
Okay.
And then in this box, you're explaining, please read this book, chapters 5, 6, 7, and 9, and answer the questions that whatever is for the assignment. And then it's still an assignment, but you could always create, instead of calling it a regular assignment, you could create a new group and call it a reading assignment.
Okay.
And then in your grade scheme, the reading assignment just doesn't have any weight.
Okay.
But you give it a category, but no weight. Does that make sense?
That actually is good, that works out well.
Because then when I click on assignments, I see underneath my list all the things I need to read. Even though they don't count towards my grade, I see the content that I need to cover as a student to be able to complete the assignments, which do actually count towards my grade.
Good.
Okay. So then you have a couple other things here. Obviously, we talked about points. If whatever we're submitting, right? If you're submitting online, you're submitting on paper, you're submitting through an external tool. The external tool would be if we are submitting through Turnitin. I am nowhere near versed what I need to be on and how Turnitin supports here in Canvas. That's something that I need to get brushed up on. But that was something that was handled by the library, and ever since the shakeup over there, no one seems to have answers as to where that information is going or who it's coming from. So I'm hoping as we get a little bit further down the line here,
Yeah, so I'm not gonna have that for the
I
summer.
was just gonna.
Turnitin is in there. It's in there. I'm just not exactly sure how to say that if I choose external tool here, does that mean that's going to Turnitin? I can't tell you that that's the truth. I don't know the answer to that.
So should we build it just online for, like, if we're building this now, should we just pick the?
I think you should just pick online.
And then we'll.
And then
figure
that
it
gives
out.
them somewhere to submit, and we get further down the road, I can get a little bit more, I'll have to talk to Molly in the library.
So yeah.
Kendra, if it's an exam, do you just hit no submission? Like if you go to ExamSoft, they got a 9.
Yeah.
Just hit no submission.
Right. And same thing for the readings, right? There would be no submission, it's just the fact that you have to read something.
Okay.
No problem.
So then, of course, you have, is this a group assignment? So maybe you're saying these 4 students need to do this, these 3 students need to do this, and these 4 students need to do this. So obviously that means you're creating 3 different assignments, but you can assign those to individuals inside of a group. So as I click group assignment, it then gives me what's the group name, what do I split the groups up into, and you can either indicate what those students are, or Canvas will just do that randomized for you and just put students in a group.
That's actually
Okay.
really nice for online stuff.
So I think that's pretty good.
That's good.
We have peer reviews that'll allow me to read the other people's submissions and respond to what they're doing. A great idea for some of us that need our students to improve on writing. That is a great way to get some writing instruction in there. Graduate students as well.
Especially in education students, that is.
And then, of course, you're assigned to, here we're going to everyone, your due date, you're available from, your until. Karen May ran into a problem this morning with her dates. I'm going to tell you what I found out, Karen. I don't think you're going to like it. The dates are driven by what's in colleague. So if it says that your course is a fall course, it will not let you put an available date of before the fall semester.
That's so stupid,
So
because our
this-
kids prep over the summer. Correct.
But I found a way around it.
All right, I was gonna be mean, yell at me. All right, I'm sorry, Andrew, I was getting all.
So what I've been told is that if you are trying, and obviously, there's probably I wouldn't say a minimal, but a small amount of content that we would be giving to students before the actual start. They want to get started, but they might be getting started on the first module, or maybe the first 2 modules. So we're not worried about necessarily setting the dates for the whole course. It's that beginning stuff, the introduction message board, the submitting of, I don't know, some kind of journal of your summer reflection, or something like that.
Syllabus.
Your syllabus, right? Some kind of activity like that. So I've been told that in that case, we leave this blank. And then it's just up there. So then, once you actually want the students to submit, you just have to go back in and put in the due date when the actual semester starts. So it will be there, the students can click on it, the students can see it, but they can't really do anything with it.
That's okay.
Right, so it's just an informational piece at that point.
Okay.
And then you can go in, once we get closer to that date, and actually put in the due date so they have somewhere to put something or submit something.
Did you want them to submit something beforehand, Karen?
I wanted, if they wanted to, like,
Right.
introduce yourself, that kind of stuff, because the way the graduate students, some work on weekends, some work during the week, that you have to leave it open so that other groups have access.
And the summer's quick. You get started and it's over. It's like, so, yeah. I can see.
So I think we're definitely gonna have to do, again, my angle of this is only coming from empty shells.
Yeah.
So the interaction that occurs in a classroom environment, I haven't been exposed to yet. So all these little nuances of due dates and how's it gonna react, and what are we gonna do with turn it in, and how's it gonna look on the message board when 12 people reply to the same post and then someone replies, like, all of that stuff comes in due time as you and I are working in here. So I apologize that I don't necessarily have the answers. I'm working with our new instructional designer, Jess, that is underneath Joanne. And she's found that problem in business too. They have people that want to make stuff available for them prior. And that's what she told me to do, that they're just leaving the dates blank and then just going in and doing it once the semester actually starts. But obviously, as we reflect down the road and we have a meeting, after fall, say, okay, what issues have arisen in your college? That's something that we can certainly bring to attention. And something we can probably get adjusted, but we don't know these things in the front end because we haven't used it.
Bruce and I were just talking about having the syllabus available. This is assignment, so this shouldn't have anything
Correct.
to do with your syllabus.
Yeah, your front page, as soon as you hit publish, you can hit publish right now and your summer front page is ready.
Got it.
And you can put the syllabus up there, you can put the message board up there, all that stuff.
Okay.
It's just, they can't really turn anything in
All right.
because that submission date isn't within the window.
Is there a way to take all our share files from just whatever course we taught in the fall of last year over to this file?
Yes.
Like you have to just save it and then?
No, we can take all of your shared files in Cruiser, and when you go in shared files, there's the check above all of them. We check them all, and we hit download, and it downloads them into a zip folder. We open the zip folder on your desktop, and then that would be all your files in a list, and I can select all those files and bring them.
And you
over
might as
to
well just
Cruiser.
put them all in files, because then we can
Correct.
download them from here.
Yeah, and then once they're in files, then you just build out your modules.
Okay.
You say module 1, I have these 2 files, and you drag them over there.
Well,
The
and
same
I
way we
love-
saw
and I
that
like
left-hand
that
list there.
You can block it so the students can't see it.
Yeah. Okay,
All right.
assignment, right?
Yeah, can I ask one more?
Yeah, go ahead.
Notify users the content has changed.
Yes,
So if you change something, because I've changed like my topical outline because it's snowed like 4 times. So that's where you click that? and
well, this
then
would be
get-
for an individual assignment.
Okay.
So this would, like, my syllabus isn't here, and that's where your topical outline would be.
Right.
This would be if I went in and maybe I changed the description. Or I went in and I adjusted the due date because of a snowstorm.
Gotcha.
And then if I check this box, the student will get alert saying, Dr. Mills has adjusted the due date of assignment number 3 to
So
da-da-da-da.
it tells them exactly
Yep.
what we changed.
Absolutely.
That's
And really, that's if you check the box here, but if they have their notification set up for your class, they're gonna get that even if you don't check the
Oh,
box.
really?
Because they have notification set up of due dates, you change the due date, they get a notification because the due date has changed.
Gotcha.
That's them setting up their notifications at the beginning. I plan on having a kind of like what to do with your students in the first 30 minutes of class before our fall starts. So in that first week in August when we're back, like what can we show the students in these first 30 minutes to get them set up? One of those things is setting up your notifications.
Okay.
How do you find your professors? Where can I get a phone number? Things like that basic stuff that students are looking for in an instant. that make sense?
Yeah, I just had a thought that maybe it'd be easier to just have group sessions. I don't know that they'd show up.
No, I'm saying for faculty.
Right.
And then faculty do that for their students in their class.
Faculty may not-
Same way you do the
Yeah,
syllabus.
I think it's 30 minutes out of your first class for.
Well, I'm sorry, 30
Yeah.
minutes was an exaggeration.
Yeah, and it's okay, I'm just thinking of the students making this leap.
I really don't, I think the students are gonna mold right in here.
Some will do it better than us,
Yeah.
and they'll be showing us, and other ones will be like.
And if they have trouble, you tell them my name, you tell them my office, and they come see me.
God bless you.
And that's fine.
God bless you.
Okay, let me get out of here of assignments. Notice, I have cancel, I have save, and I have save and publish. Okay, so if you are absolutely done, you're ready for this to go up, save and publish. If you're still looking for a better article, save. If you're not really sure, if you want assignment 2 to fall in module 3 or module 4 yet because you're not done with your topical outline, save. Okay, don't publish until you're ready because the students are going to see that it's up there, they're going to want to know what it is, and then when it changes, it's going to be, well, how comes it was different than, well, don't publish it yet. Just save it, and then when you're ready, actually publish it.
Cool.
Okay?
So you can build all kinds of stuff and just have it sitting in the.
All right, so we were here in modules when we decided to add example assignment 1 to module 1, right? And think of this module as like the structural format of the class. Also, as a student, if I click on assignments, I also see my example assignment 1 underneath my assignments. And if I look real close, it tells me that it's in module 1. So remember, I said you see it in 2 different places. It depends on what door you go through. If you go through the module door, you see the structured layout of the class. If you go to the assignments door, you see everything that's going to be submitted in the semester. Notice I have my assignments that are worth 30% of the total. I have my message boards that are worth 20% of the total. I have my quizzes that are worth 25% of the total, participation, exams, journal reflections, and video presentation. I got lots of stuff. I don't need it all, right? Some of that stuff's in here by default. I want to get rid of, let's say, participation. I'm literally just clicking on the 3 dots and delete it. Now, no, if you've already set up your grade scheme, and here I'm saying participation is worth 5%, and I delete that, now you only have 95% of your class. So make sure you're balancing that out. If you're getting rid of some portion that already has a percentage, that percentage is being rolled over to another place. Okay, if we need a reminder as to how to set up that initial percentage, it's the 3 dots of all of the assignments.
There you go.
3 dots, assignment group weights, and I get it all right there.
Thank you.
That should really, again, it's your preference, you're the professionals. In my book, this is step number 1.
Yeah.
Because this is what everything's built off of. If you're building assignments and you're building your coursework, everything is part of some category. So make the categories first. So as you're going through and constructing each one of those individual pieces, you then just drop them into your pre-made categories.
So Andrew, let me ask you a question. So your example was, if you have 5 assignments and those assignments are worth 20%, each assignment is worth 4%. When you build the actual assignment, could I make that assignment out of 100 points? Like I like to grade out of 100 points. So I could say it's worth 100 points and somebody gets a 75 or a 90 or whatever, it will calculate.
Absolutely. It's whatever grade scale you want to use.
Okay.
The
so
scheme stays the same. You want a grade out of 10, grade out of 10. You want a grade out of 100, grade out of 100.
Okay.
Those points won't matter because 10% is 0.001, 100 points is 0.01. It's all going to use the decimal the same way in the calculation, and it'll still come out to the same whole number.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
How'd
So
you
you
get
can make it
message
like
boards on there?
Oh, so if I want,
100%, just put 100 points because your percentage is going to be.
Right, and then you just sub it as
There's
percent.
discussion.
Sue brought up a good question of how do I get something on there that's not on there now? I'm just hitting plus group, right?
You do it.
I just hit plus group. So these are your groups, assignments, message boards, quizzes. So when I hit plus group, I now have a blog that is due. That blog is worth 10% of my total grade, and I save.
Or you could
Now-
say one exam too.
I have blog down here worth 10% of my total.
Now, if I want to do a reading assignment, do I have to build the assignment, just make it 0?
Yeah, in that case for your reading assignments, you just don't fill in that box of what percentage of the total is. There is no percentage of total. It's just a place for information for them.
But do I have to build it in this assignment group here?
If I were you, I would say plus group and you would say
Reading
readings.
assignment, okay,
Yes.
got it.
And then you would say reading assignment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you go through each one and in that content box, say what I have to do in reading assignment 1, say what I have to do in reading assignment 2.
Got it.
Right? I think the numbers are very important, and I said this in yesterday's group. Try to keep that in mind as you're building. Those of you that use the numerical numbers, I shouldn't be clicking in module 2, completing message board 5, assignment 7, and blog 6. Where the hell did all that come from? Okay, so if I'm clicking in module 2, maybe I'm completing assignment 1, message board 2, quiz 1. So at least those numbers are within each other and there's some kind of sequential order. But if all of a sudden you're jumping all over the place, and in module 2, I'm completing something with the number 7, 11, 12, and 9, that is so not meaningful to them.
Well, do we even have to number them? Can I just say?
No, you don't. I'm just saying for,
Genetics case study.
Correct.
Or,
yeah, I'm just saying for those people, I know that there are a bunch of classes right now that run where things are just numbered. It's just assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, assignment 4, message board 1, message board 2, message board 3, message board 4.
but that's because it was easier to build it Campus Cruiser
Correct.
that way.
Right. And sometimes referring to the students that way is easy for them too. You know, in the topical outline, you have all that listed, and yes, message board 1 is on Gero habits or whatever, but for me to explain that in class and say, hey guys, make sure you get message board 1 done, that's on, it's just, yo, get message board 1 done. And they can go back and find message board 1 as a reference. So I think if we go to those long titles and start just titling everything by the topic, some of that stuff goes in one year and out the other. But if we use the numerical sense, they can say, oh, I need to complete message board 1 today. Okay, let me go see what message board 1 is about.
But in the modules, it makes it easy. because
That's
it's
true.
all gonna be-
Correct.
Your modules is really your class, because if you don't have an online class, you're just teaching, like, say, med search.
Right.
Module 1 is class 1, module 2 is class 2.
You can think of it that way.
Is that kind of where you would put like your PowerPoint say? for that
Yeah,
class or something?
but even then, like Mary was in here yesterday, I encourage Mary you don't even have to, if you're face to face, like Mary's
Yeah.
class is made up of 3 exams and a HESI.
Yes,
Right, right.
That's all that's going to be listed in my assignments. And I don't need to go through and make 12 modules and map all that out. Put your PowerPoints in files, put your 3 tests and assignments. 99% of the content is face-to-face instruction in that lecture hall.
So don't even have modules.
No, there's no reason for modules
Right.
in that case.
And when they look for their,
Ah.
when they look for the class that day, just call the file,
Absolutely.
you know,
Yeah.
hypertension.
Yeah, or
Or you
read 2. Well, she goes by beats in most
Yeah,
cases.
what do you guys do now? When you put them up, you just
I
put them
put,
all in
Yeah,
their file?
yeah.
well, no,
And I usually try to put test 1, like, you know, what if,
I would put test 1 and then the content so that they know,
Yeah.
because these files go with test 1,
Right.
these go with test 2.
Andrew,
Right.
And you say test 1 and you put everything in test 1 that you need to.
But-
Andrew,
Right, but yeah, in that case, like, those of us that are so driven, in those high stakes classes by the assessments and the HESIs, I don't see the need to build out all those modules.
So you can get.
Andrew, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Andrew,
go ahead, Donna.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
No, I was just going to add, with these courses, especially for freshmen and sophomore students, that some run on Tuesday, Thursdays, and some run on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, it's so much better to set them up as modules.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
hybrid. I
Yeah,
think
and hybrid.
And hybrid,
Yeah,
all the
hybrid.
hybrid classes.
I would definitely lean towards the module format for online and hybrid. For our face-to-face instruction, you just put the assignments in, right? You just click on assignments and you build out what needs to be done. Your 5 assignments, your 3 message boards, your quizzes, and that's it. And especially for those of us that just have tests, you just have your test category. There's 3 tests and you have a HESI category and there's 1 HESI. That's all there is. So there's no need to go through and do this massive amount of instruction, and especially with those, because everything's done in ExamSoft.
Right.
So you're just putting the grades in.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Right,
not a
I
whole
think
lot
Donna's
there.
question though, Donna's talking about intro to Jera where there could be 9 sections. So if she could build 1 section as module 1, module 2, if I'm teaching it Tuesday, Thursday, and Sue Mills is teaching Monday, Wednesday, Friday, they'll just know to take that content and
Yes.
spread it over 2 or 3 days.
I like that idea. Yes.
So,
The module to week scenario.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I tend to use modules in a 2-week format in my 301.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's too much to do in 1 week to call it 1 module.
Mhm.
So I have 7 modules, but it really runs 14 weeks. So it's really whatever, it's your professional preference. It's whatever you do in class now. And obviously, if it's not working, I would certainly hope you're reconsidering the way it's laid out as a professional educator that, hey, I need to modify and adjust here. This isn't being so effective. But yeah, for those face-to-faces, I would just build here in assignments. And if you're certainly online or hybrid, I would build more in that module kind of place. I wanted to take a look here at the settings that go along with a message board, because I feel like our message boards are very heavily used in a lot of classes. So here, I'm inside of assignments. I am literally just clicking on the example message board that was made for me through the template.
Sorry, I have to go to a dissertation.
You're good.
I might have to ask questions about this.
So when you click on the group discussion here, this is the generic one. This is what the students would see. Okay, they see the prompt, they see the guide. You can put anything you want here,
Okay.
right? And you'll see that when I hit edit, this is all just stuff that was typed, again, in my HTML box, right? So whatever text you want to put in there is perfectly fine. You have all your other options. Maybe the message board is for them to watch a video and respond to it. Put the YouTube video right there at the top of the message board. Okay? Obviously your title. And then how is this message board displayed to the users? Allow threaded replies, meaning I'm the one who posts first. Kathy replies to me, so it would be indented underneath my post. Karen replies to me, it's indented under my post. Karen also replies to Kathy. Karen's reply to Kathy is indented underneath Kathy's post. So you're no longer getting a full list, you're getting an outlined list. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Think of it as I, double I, triple I.
But you still have to put up the first one, and then people who respond would still be indented.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. My original post is at top.
Right.
You all respond to
Right,
me.
right.
All of you are in a list indented at the same I
Mhm.
underneath my response. But then you also respond to everybody else.
Right.
You're now going to be double I underneath their I.
Mhm.
So it's kind of, it's easier on the eyes when you're looking at it, because you're going back and forth. The way we're trained to read an outline text throughout our entire education, it's that same setup here. Okay? Users must post before seeing replies.
Love that.
Meaning I can't take my classmates' ideas, because I know Sally and John post every day on Monday, and they are the smartest kids in class. I love reading their posts and just putting it in my own words, because I know I don't have to do after that, because they did a great job
I
summarizing.
like that.
Well, guess what? You can't see Sally and John until you make your own post. So you can no longer take those ideas off of someone else. Everything has to be original, and then you can see everything else that exists on there. So that's a good checks and balance, I think, there. I love that feature.
Engage does that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enable podcast feed would be allowing you to embed some kind of podcast audio. I don't know anybody that does that. There are great nursing podcasts out there if that's something that ever strikes your fancy, but there's so much that we're trying to drill into these students' head. It's not like we have like, oh yeah, let's try a podcast this semester. So, but know that that's a feature that's there.
But that might work in health assessment.
It could. Yeah, there's some great podcasts out
Do you
there.
know what I mean?
Graded gives you a space at the top of the message board post to type the grade in. So you don't have to go to the grade book and say,
Oh, that's
okay,
nice.
oh, but you know what? You know what I had to do in Cruiser? I had to write down the people's names that did the message board, and then I had to go to the grade book and put in the grade of the people
I
whose
always had to
names
do
were on
that,
my
right.
list.
Yeah.
So here, graded gives you a spot as the instructor to put in the grade at the top of the post. Where does the grade go? Right to the grade book. So you don't have to leave the message board area to be able to get to that. And of course, I encourage this. Allow liking.
I like liking.
Well, like it. Students are so used to liking things on Facebook, retweeting things on Twitter, double tapping on Instagram to like their hearts.
So they can like it within the system.
They like it within the
Yeah, we
system.
put that on whatever it is.
One more thing before you go.
Okay,
I love this idea. Sort by likes. Guess what? You get the most likes this week, you don't have to do the message board next week.
Yeah.
So now I'm striving to be the best host.
We did
I'm
that.
striving to get my classmates to like my post the most, so that next week I get a little bit of downtime, because maybe I have vacation next week. And that's one less thing I have to
We
do.
did that and engage.
So that's another neat feature I think could be in there.
They did videos.
Yeah, that's great. I gotta wrap up. I got something else I want to.
Okay, yeah.
Did we learn something?
Yeah.
All right, good.
Lots, thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
a lot.
thank you.
That makes me feel better.
Yeah, you're right.
What do you guys think online?
Thank you, Andrew.
No problem, Kim. Was that okay?
Yeah, it was great. Quick question though, is if I put a grade in on someone's posting, does the class see it?
No, that's yours.
Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, awesome, thanks, Andrew.
You all good, Callahan?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, sounds good. I have this recording, so I'll put it up later this afternoon.
And you said that these fall courses should be up May 1st?
May 1st, fall should be in.
Thank you.
All right, no problem. You guys have a great rest of the day.
Bye-bye, Andrew. Thank you.
No problem. Bye-bye.
Bye.